Hi aspirants, welcome to this week's SRV's weekly newspaper discussion. As usual, this week also, we will cover news articles related to UPSC from various newspapers like the Hindu, Indian Express and so on. We'll try to concentrate on prelims as well as mains perspective, and we'll try to reduce the time taken as much as possible by avoiding repeating articles which we have already covered in the previous week. So try to watch continuously so that every article is covered. Okay, we'll get into today's first article. Today's first article, it is an editorial which talks about Berlin-Delhi connection. This talks about the foreign relations between India and Berlin. Of course, this comes under GS2 for foreign relations, international relations. This article's summary is like this. India is having cordial relationship with various countries, particularly countries in Europe. Comparatively, the strength of the relationship with Germany is not too high, but at the same time, the relationship with Germany is very important. That is what this article tries to talk. And why this article is in news? Because of German Chancellor Olaf Scholz has visited India. We'll see some important points from this. Like see here, unlike the Russians and Chinese, the Germans might not be good at selling dreams of a new global order. They are not very powerful like they are going to change the world, we are going to rule the world, all those things. But they have their own significance. They bring solid capabilities that India need in transforming itself at home and in the global race. They say India's growth in India as well as in the global scenario, we need Germany's help. That's it. Now they have a special bond, particularly after independence. Now there is a strategic partnership since 2000. So try to note down these points. You can very well mention in your main answers. India and Germany already have a strategic partnership which was started in the year 2000. And moreover, there is a problem with all the European countries against India. What is that? India failed to condemn Russia's annexation or invasion towards Ukraine. And moreover, it angered even more when India purchased a lot of oil from Russia. This problem is already going on, but yet this has not escalated too much in the Europe-Indian relationship. Now, relationship with other powers, for example, Britain, France, Italy, and Poland, are all on the upswing. India is having a good relationship with all the European countries. And apart from that, even with the Baltic and Central European countries like Slavko, Balkan countries, mid-regions, all these regions, India has a good relationship. And if there is one link which India is missing in Europe, it is Germany actually. So this article says we have to improve the relationship with Germany, and it gives some reasons as well for that. One, Berlin recognizes the growing international salience of India. India is going to be a next very big superpower in the global scenario, and that is recognized by Germany. So it is important for us. And the world's most populous nation and a stable democracy. This is what Germany sees India as. And in the economic and geopolitical domains as well, Germany wants to benefit from India's diverse expertise, because India is having a very good say in the international politics as well. And moreover, India is trying to be the leader in the so-called global south. We saw this in the G20 summit as well. And the other one, Germany notes the divergence with India on Russia's war in Ukraine. It knows that India is not condemning Russia for invading Ukraine, but at the same time, it also recognizes the need to build bridges through dialogue in a spirit of trust and identify joint initiatives, particularly in the fields where direct security interests are affected. So later in this article also we'll see, mostly it is the security relationship, defense relationship, which is holding India and Germany together. Okay, though there are some negative feel between Europe and India because of the Russian war issue, but that is not seen as a big thing. And the third point is the importance of deeper economic ties with India. Okay, particularly in the Indo-Pacific region. Indo-Pacific region, it's always in turbulence between Europe and Europe and Indo-Pacific region. Why? Because of the presence of China's aggressive nature. But at the same time, India's presence is seen as a boon for Europe. This is a major break from the tradition of putting China first in the Asian economic policy. So, nearly for the last 50 years, when it is Asia, Europe always thought China is most important in Asia, but nowadays it is changing. They are trying to come out of China. They are trying to find an alternative, and they see India as the next best alternative. And the fourth point is Germany wants to be a strong security partner for India. As I told you, they want to sell their weapons. They want to be a very good security partner for India. And another important point, which is the next point, is they are ready to transfer knowledge to India. They are not just selling their weapons to India. They are helping us make their weapons in India itself. They are transferring the knowledge. Already France is ready to do this. Now Germany is also being ready to do this. In this case, India will become a global leader in defense manufacturing. Now, from the Indian perspective, the most important new element in the German promise to help India make weapons at home, this is what I told you. So they are helping India make weapons at home itself. They are not just selling. They are telling us how to make it. They are teaching us how to make it. So which means India will grow in technology, which in turn will increase the technological employment in India. So we know that there are so many engineering colleges in India. Education is improving in India, but comparatively, the number of jobs that are there, particularly high-paid jobs, are lesser. But when India is growing to become a manufacturing hub, particularly for defense weapons, this is going to be a game changer in the employment as well. And moreover, India will become an exporter in defense rather than being an importer, which is actually now. Okay. And we'll see the next article. This article is about the Z-More tunnel. So there are some prelims facts in this, some map questions also in this. Try to pay attention. What has happened is there is an attack that happened in Kashmir, particularly the APCO Infratech. It is a company. What company is this? They are the ones who are building the Z-More tunnel. So the Z-More tunnel, where is it? It joins Srinagar and Leh highway. It is joining these two. This tunnel is around 6.4 kilometers long. And the name for this tunnel comes from the Z-shaped stretch of the road. And this the road which this tunnel is joining, it has a Z shape. So that's the name. That's it. And it is connecting Srinagar-Leh highway. It is called as National Highway 1, a prelims fact. And one more thing, it is one of the only two roads that connect Ladakh to the rest of India. Ladakh is being connected to the rest of India only by two roads. That one road is NH1. The other road is NH3. And one more thing, the Z-More tunnel, it is part of the Zojila tunnel project. Again, a prelims fact. And now, during winter, both this NH1 and NH3, they are closed. So people are not able to go there. This is bad for tourism as well. And also strategically also, that region being strategically very important for India in case of aggression from China or from Pakistan or from terrorists. So not having a proper logistics, a transport route to that region is always a safety or security issue, and that is being resolved by this Z-More tunnel. So that becomes very important. And this region is around 8,500 feet high altitude as well. And moreover, we know Ladakh is strategically vital for India, particularly because troops are deployed against Pakistan in the Siachen Glacier and in the Turtuk subsector. So to reach these two, this NH1 and NH3 are important, but they are closed during winter. But this tunnel is going to change this. And the total project, Zojila tunnel project, it also includes a 14-kilometer long under construction tunnel at Zojila. So another part is the 6.4 kilometer tunnel more. And this tunnel, this Zojila tunnel, will connect Zonmark in the Kashmir Valley to Dras in Ladakh. So it is connecting Kashmir Valley with Ladakh. And try to take this, even a screenshot of this map, and try to note it down. Which region, where they are. To the north of Srinagar, you have Gandarbal. Okay. And this project, Z-More project, it was originally conceived by BRO in 2012. Now the Zojila tunnel, it is being constructed by Mega Engineering, and that's not very important, but when it is going to be completed, 26, that is important. So Zojila tunnel will be constructed, completed by 2026. And the next one, the worm called C. elegans. We have already discussed this in our last class video, so we will not get deeper unless except the new details which are there in this article. So this worm was researched and people got even Nobel Prize for this, we know that. And what is so special about this? This worm, it belongs to a nematode group. It is a nematode. And speciality of nematodes is they just own the number of cells they have is only 959. That is why researching them becomes very easy. But compared to that, other animals, higher group of animals like humans, they have trillions of cells. While we have trillions of cells, nematodes only have 959 cells, so it is suitable for research. And one more thing, this nematode, particularly this particular worm called as C. elegans, Prelims Fact, noted down. It was the first animal to have its genome entirely deciphered, and it happened in 1998. So this is something very specific. And one more thing, this worm is very inexpensive. It's easy to store, and it's entirely self-sufficient when it comes to reproduction. These are the advantages this C. elegans worm has, because of which it is used for a lot of research, particularly in the genetics. Next one. There is a problem going on, and particularly in the recent times, even the Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh spoke about this. The southern states are losing population. The number of children being born is becoming too less in the southern states. And what will this result in? In the near future, the southern states will have a aged population. Dependent population will increase. And he has also mentioned that the government has to take steps now. How to take steps? Maybe we can incentivize people to give birth to more children. And he has said that having less than 2 children hereafter is going to be a huge disaster, particularly for the southern states. And it is not going to stop there. It is also going to move to the northern states. For northern states also, this is going to happen. We are always concerned about India having a very high population, but at the same time, we have to see on the other side as well. Now, if the aged population are going to increase, and there are only dependent population in India, that will very badly affect the production in India, and because of that, the economic condition of India, which will again become a disaster for the entire population. So he has said that the government has to take steps towards this. And there are other facts which have been mentioned in this article. As a summary, let me tell you first. Some researchers have shown that incentivizing for population growth is actually not working. Like if you have more than 2 children, we will give such benefits. We will give extra leave from the government. All these things, actually they are not working, it seems. So at the end of this article, as a conclusion, what they have said is, so what is the way? Now the population is aging. It is becoming a dependent population. Yes, it is a huge problem. But incentivizing people to give birth to more children, it's actually not working. We don't know why, but experimentally, by what has happened so far, it is not working. And it has been tried by countries like Japan, Korea, China, and some European countries as well. It is not actually working. Because it is not just about the economy. It has become the mentality of the people, the ideology of people. And when we last discussed about the same issue with Korea, what it was found was, people are not interested in having children or not interested in getting married because they consider it to be a burden. So whatever incentives you are going to give, it's not going to work for them because they are already rich enough, and that is the reason for them to not get into family life. So incentivizing is not working. That is what they have found. So what is the option, particularly for India? They say migration is the solution. So North India has a lot of population. Southern India is having less population. Just migrate. People from there can get migrated here. And it is going to, and the article says it is an advantage for the southern states. Why? You don't have to nurture a population. ஒரு குழந்தைய பெற்று ஸ்கூலில் கொண்டு போய் அதை படிக்க வச்சு அதுக்கு எல்லாம் எஜுகேஷன்லாம் கொடுத்து அதை கொண்டாந்து வேலைக்கு சேர்த்துட்டு அது பணம் சம்பாதிக்கிறத விட நார்த் இந்தியாவில் பெற்று வளர்த்து வச்சிருக்காங்க, கூட்டி கொண்டு இங்கே வச்சு வேலை செய்ய வச்சுக்கோங்க, சம்பாரிச்சுக்கோங்க. That is what this article says. Okay, so actually migration from northern India to southern India, it is said to be a huge advantage not just for North India but for southern India as well. So this problem can be solved simply by migration, internal migration within the country, internal migration. That is what this article says. So I've given the entire summary of this article, and of course, as usual, this file also will be uploaded in the description. Please take this file and read at least only the highlighted parts that I have given. Okay, it's needed for you. Next one, the next article is about satellite spectrum. This word spectrum is very famous in India. We know that. We know all about that 2G spectrum, auctions happening every time for spectrum. All these things we know. But this article is specifically about satellite spectrum. It is not the mobile tower spectrum, that is the terrestrial spectrum which we have been talking about so long. This is new satellite spectrum. So what is the difference here? The central government has said now that they are not going to go for auctions for distributing the spectrum. Normally how the spectrum is distributed, every time auctions will happen. ஏல விடுவாங்க, யார் அதிக ரேட்டு கேட்குறீங்களோ அவங்களுக்கு இவ்வளோ பேண்ட் வித்தை கொடுத்துருவோம் அப்படின்னு சொல்லி ஏலம் விடுவாங்க. And now the central government has decided this satellite spectrum, that is not going to happen. It is simply going to be an administrative action. அப்படின்னு என்னது, கவர்மெண்ட் முடிவு பண்ணும் எந்த கம்பெனிக்கு எவ்வளவு ஸ்பெக்ட்ரம் கொடுக்க முடிவு பண்ணும், நாங்களா முடிவு பண்ணும், நாங்களா கொடுத்துருவோம். ஓவர். Now when you hear this, it sounds like, oh, this is not fair. How can the government just decide without giving an auction at all? So maybe the government will get bribe or something and do. That's what we will think when we see the headlines. But actually it is just the opposite. Actually Reliance India or Jio and others say they wanted auctions to happen. But on the other hand, Elon Musk, the owner of Starlink, he said no auctions should not happen. Auctions is not going to be fair in this case for satellite spectrum. இப்போ குழப்பற மாதிரி இல்லை, ஆக்ஷன் விட்டால் தானே நல்லது. யார் ஹையஸ்ட் பிட்டிங் வாங்குறாங்களோ அவங்க எடுத்துப்பாங்க, கவர்மெண்ட்டுக்கு நிறைய பணம் கிடைக்கும். அவங்க கவர்மெண்ட்டுக்கு பணம் கிடைச்சா மக்களுக்கு நல்லது. இது நீங்கள் கவர்மெண்ட்டே முடிவு பண்ணிச்சுன்னா அவங்க இஷ்டத்துக்கு கம்மி ரேட்டு கொடுத்துட மாட்டாங்களா, அவங்களுக்கு பிடிச்ச கம்பெனிஸ் கொடுத்துட மாட்டாங்களா அப்படின்ற மாதிரி தான் தோணும். And actually this article is completely different because they have given the reason. The reason is that satellite spectrum is not similar to terrestrial spectrum. Terrestrial spectrum is specific to the buyer. இந்த ஸ்பெக்ட்ரம் உனக்கு தான், இந்த கம்பெனி மட்டும் யூஸ் பண்ணிக்கலாம் அப்படி. Satellite spectrum is not like that. It is international. And moreover, it is not controlled by any country. Terrestrial spectrum, இந்தியாக்குள்ள உள்ள ஸ்பெக்ட்ரம் எல்லாத்தையும் இந்தியா கண்ட்ரோல் பண்ணும். But satellite spectrum, it is controlled internationally by ITU. Under UN, it is an UN organization. So it cannot be controlled by any country. In that case, auctioning is going to be unfair. That is what they have said here. So in this case, what is better? From this article, what we know is actually administering of spectrum is better when compared to auctioning the spectrum. Okay, now we'll get into the details here. Okay, so satellite communication, which is called simply shortly it's called SATCOM. SATCOM will be allocated administratively and not through auction. So Jio asked for auction, but it was not done. Actually Elon Musk Starlink asked for administrative distribution of the spectrum, and that's what has happened. We'll see why. So unlike this terrestrial spectrum, it has no national territorial limit. Who manages it? It is managed by Telecom Union, International Telecom Union. It is under UN. And one more thing, it is this spectrum is under the Telecommunication Act 2023. And under this act, section 4 clause 4, telecom spectrum shall be assigned through auction. Act la solli irukku, telecom spectrum auction da vidanum solli irukku, no doubt in there, except for entries listed in the first schedule, for which assignment shall be done by administrative process. ஆனா அதே ஆக்ட்ல என்ன சொல்லியிருக்காங்க, ஏதோ ஒரு பர்டிகுலர் ஸ்பெக்ட்ரம் ஆக்ஷன் விட முடியாதுன்னு தோணுச்சு, தூக்கி என்ன பண்ணிடலாம், அந்த ஆக்டோட ஃபர்ஸ்ட் ஸ்கெடியூல போட்டுடலாம். அப்படி போட்டா என்ன பண்ணிக்கலாம், அதை வந்து கவர்மெண்ட் அட்மினிஸ்ட்ரேட்டிவ் கொடுத்துக்கலாம். டெலிகாம் ஆக்ட்ல இதுக்கு ஒரு வழி இருக்கு, இல்லைன்னா கிடையாது. So here what is the meaning? No auction. Administrative process means no auction. Simply the government will decide to whom to give and they will give it. So what has Elon Musk said regarding this? It will be unprecedented. அது நம்ம எப்படி இருக்குன்னு சொல்லவே முடியாது. ஏன்னா it is long designated by the ITU. ஏன்னா ஏற்கனவே சொல்லிட்டாங்க இது வந்துட்டு சேட்டலைட்ஸ்ல இருந்து வர்றது, இது வந்து ITU தான் மேனேஜ்மெண்ட் சொல்லிட்டாங்க. அப்புறம் எப்படி வந்து ஒரு கவர்மெண்ட் போயிட்டு அதை ஆக்ஷன் விட முடியாது, அதான் அவர் கேட்டிருந்தது. And one more thing, the SATCOM services, they are provided by a group of satellites. நிறைய satellites சேர்ந்தது கொடுக்கும், and they do not require wires. So all this we know already. And what are the benefits of satellite communication? One is wide coverage. The signal இல்லைன்ற பிரச்சனை வராது. And more resilient network. ரொம்ப நம்பிக்கையா இருக்கும். ஏன்னா அவ்வளவு சீக்கிரம் மழை பெஞ்சிச்சு, டவர் விழுந்துருச்சு, ஏதாவது ப்ராப்ளம் ஆச்சு, அதெல்லாம் எதுவுமே இருக்க, ரொம்ப நம்பகத்தன்மையா இருக்கும். And one more thing, services can be higher. Latency can be higher. இதுல ஒரே ஒரு டிஸ்அட்வான்டேஜ், அதாவது டெரஸ்ட்ரியல் கம்யூனிகேஷனை விட சேட்டலைட் கம்யூனிகேஷன் ஒரு டிஸ்அட்வான்டேஜ் சொல்றாங்க, லேட்டன்சி அதிகமாக இருக்கலாம். லேட்டன்சி என்னது, நான் பேசும்போது உடனே கேட்காம நான் பேசுறது கொஞ்சம் நேரம் கழிச்சு அங்கே கேட்கும், அந்த இன்டர்வெல் இருக்கும், அது இன்புட்க்கும் அவுட்புட்க்கும் ஒரு இன்டர்வெல் இருக்கும், அதை தான் லேட்டன்சின்னு சொல்லுவோம். ஸோ லேட்டன்சி வந்து மேபி அதிகமாக இருக்க சான்ஸ் இருக்கு. ஏன்னா ஒரு டேட்டா வந்து இங்கே சேட்டலைட்டுக்கு போய் ரிஃப்ளெக்ட் ஆகி மறுபடி கீழே வந்து கிரவுண்ட் ஸ்டேஷனுக்கு வந்து அங்கிருந்து மறுபடி வந்துட்டு அந்த டிவைஸ்க்கு செல்ஃபோனுக்கோ இது டிவைஸ்க்கு வந்து சேரணும். ஸோ லேட்டன்சி மட்டும் அதிகமாக இருக்க சான்ஸ் இருக்கு. Another advantage, it can reach remote location. எவ்வளோ என்ன ஃபாரஸ்டாக இருந்தாலும் எனி ரூரல் ஏரியாஸ் எல்லா இடத்துலையும் ரீச் ஆகும். இது இன்னொரு விஷயம். ஓகே. அண்ட் ஒன் மோர் திங், இட் இஸ் கன்சிடர் டு பி மோர் ரெசைலண்ட். ஆஸ் ஐ ஆல்ரெடி டோல்ட் யூ, இது ஆக்சிடென்ட் ஆகிறதுக்கு அந்த மாதிரி பிரச்சனை இல்லை. வெரி லிட்டில் கிரவுண்ட் ஸ்டேஷன் இட் வில் ஹேவ். ஸோ ரொம்ப கிரவுண்ட் ஸ்டேஷன் கம்மின்றனால இதோட நம்பகத்தன்மை ரொம்ப அதிகமாக இருக்கும். அண்ட் ஒன் மோர் factual prelims data, India is 4th in terms of investment in this particular sector globally. And one more important point, prelims fact, for terrestrial communication, that is the tower communication, for that it is exclusive. The spectrum is exclusive. What does it mean? It is managed only by a single mobile operator. இதெல்லாம் சம்மரியில முன்னாடி சொல்லிட்டேன். Now we are getting deeper. So ஒரு ஸ்பெக்ட்ரம் இருக்குன்னா அந்த கம்பெனி மட்டுமே அதை யூஸ் பண்ணிக்கும், அவ்வளவுதான். But in the case of satellites, the spectrum is non-exclusive. It can be used by multiple satellite operators to serve the same geographical area. So இது இன்னொரு விஷயம். அப்போ சேட்டலைட் கம்யூனிகேஷன் ஸ்பெக்ட்ரம்க்கு எந்த கண்ட்ரி ட்ரை பண்ணியிருக்காங்கன்னா, எஸ், இட் ஹஸ் பீன் ட்ரைட் பை யுனைடெட் ஸ்டேட்ஸ், பிரேசில், சவுதி அரேபியா. They have tried it in the past and they have found that it's not working properly. Administrative distribution is the best method. So we are just directly taking that method. Next one, a small prelims fact you have to know, not more than that. India's growth outlook supported by robust domestic engine. ஸோ இந்தியாவோட growth எதை வச்சு நம்பி இருக்குதுன்னு சொல்றாங்க. டொமஸ்டிக்கா வந்துட்டு எவ்வளவு வந்து growth நடக்குது, எவ்வளவு மேனுஃபேக்சர் நடக்குது அப்படின்றத பொறுத்து தான் இருக்குது. ஆனா எவ்வளவு ஜியோ பொலிட்டிக்கல் டென்ஷன் இருந்தாலும் கண்ட்ரிஸ் growth outlook supported by domestic engines. ஸோ வெளிநாடை நம்பி, எக்ஸ்போர்ட்டை நம்பிலாம் இந்தியாவோட growth இல்லை. இந்தியாவோட ஆக்சுவல் growth எங்க இருக்கு? இந்தியாக்குள்ளார நடக்கிற பையிங், செல்லிங், மேனுஃபேக்சரிங் இதுல தான் இருக்குன்னு சொல்லியிருக்காங்க. Who has said this? An economic activity index, EAI. The GDP is increasing அப்படின்னு சொல்லியிருக்காங்க. அந்த இதுல prelims fact ஒண்ணு தான். Economic activity index, who releases it? RBI. This is the only prelims fact you have to know. India's growth outlook is supported by robust domestic engine and not much by exports. So this is what this article says. And one fact you have to know, what is the report? Who releases it? RBI releases it. That's all. Okay. See this article, they are talking about water. How water has to be preserved. So what is the problem behind not preserving water? And see the title. It says, water in common. இதை வந்து நம்ம ஏற்கனவே முன்னாடி few weeks முன்னாடி ஆர்டிகல்ல பார்த்திருக்கோம். காமன் குட்ஸ் அப்படின்னு ஒன்று பார்த்திருக்கோம். காமன் குட்ஸ், வாட் இஸ் த மீனிங் ஆஃப் காமன் குட்? சம்திங் which is for everyone. No one can say that it is mine. Some natural resources, it is for everyone. So they say water is a common good. So it is the responsibility of the entire humanity, every government, to preserve it and protect it. But are we doing it? That is what this article talks about. Now there is a report. What is the report? Global Commission on the Economics of Water. It says aquifers are stressed. Aquifers, like groundwater, a lake, river, everything. Wherever water is held, that is called aquifer. And the aquifers are stressed. மோசமான நிலைமையில இருக்கு. We have to protect them. It says there is an organization which was set up in Netherlands in the year 2022, and it's called as Global Commission on Economics of Water. They have made this research, and they say world's food production could be imperiled if countries do not find better way to manage water resources. சோறே கிடைக்காம சாக போறீங்க, தண்ணியை மட்டும் நீங்க ஒழுங்கா பாதுகாத்து காட்டி. The crisis could shave off 8% of the global GDP by 2050. So it could impact. It will just remove 8% of global GDP itself, because if we don't protect water. And particularly poor countries will face 15% loss. If its average is 8%, poor countries can have 15% GDP loss here. And one more thing, demand for fresh water will outstrip supply by 40% by the end of this decade. Just in 10 years, 40% the fresh water is going to be depleted. And the third word is already water stressed. Third word. Every day more than 1,000 children die in the poor economical conditions in these poor countries because of not having good access to water. 1,000 children every day. And we have to consider water as a global good. ஒரு உலகத்துக்கான பொது சொத்தா வந்து தண்ணி கன்சிடர் பண்ணணும் அப்படின்னு சொல்லியிருக்காங்க. So this is not good, this is good trade. Okay. The links between perverse subsidies and imprudent water use in agriculture, for instance, have well been established in India. So இதுக்கு ரீசன் சொல்றாங்க, எதனாலலாம் தண்ணி வந்துட்டு பாதுகாக்கப்பட போகுதுன்னு. நிறைய சப்சிடிஸ் கொடுக்குறது, இஷ்டத்துக்கு சப்சிடிஸ் கொடுக்குறீங்க. ஃப்ரீ எலக்ட்ரிசிட்டி வந்து கவர்மெண்ட் கொடுக்குறாங்க, பர்டிகுலர்லி இன் அ பிளேஸ் லைக் இந்தியா. அக்ரிகல்ச்சருக்கு ஃப்ரீ எலக்ட்ரிசிட்டி கொடுக்குறாங்க. அதனால அவங்க ஃபார்மர்ஸ் என்ன பண்றாங்க, எலக்ட்ரிசிட்டியை பார்த்து யூஸ் பண்ண மாட்டேங்கிறாங்க. இஷ்டத்துக்கு வாட்டர், கிரவுண்ட் வாட்டரை எடுத்து வேஸ்ட் பண்ணிடுறாங்க. ஸோ ஆனால் எலக்ட்ரிசிட்டி ஃப்ரீயா இல்லாமல் இருந்திருந்தா, இவ்வளோ தண்ணிக்கு இவ்வளோ சார்ஜ் அப்படின்னு இருந்திருந்தா, இல்லைன்னா ஃப்ரீ எலக்ட்ரிசிட்டி ஒன்லி ஃபார் அ பர்டிகுலர் அமௌண்ட் ஆஃப் டைம் ஆர் அ பர்டிகுலர் அமௌண்ட் ஆஃப் வாட்டர் அப்படின்னு கொடுத்திருந்தா, வாட்டர் கேன் பி ப்ரிசர்வ். ஸோ ஃப்ரீ சப்சிடிஸ் இஸ் பிக் ரீசன் சொல்றாங்க. அடுத்து வேற என்ன ரீசன் சொல்றாங்க? And one more thing, despite the interconnectedness of water system, there is no global governance system for water. So though we know that water is completely interconnected. If you are going to waste water in Sri Lanka, it's going to affect in Canada. That to that level, water is interconnected. But we don't have a global governance system for water. And there has been only one conference in the past 50 years by the UN regarding protecting water. And this commission suggests a global pact. அதனால இது கண்ட்ரி வைஸ்ல இருக்கக்கூடாது, குளோபலா வந்து ஒரு பேக்ட் தனியா போடணும், வாட்டரை கன்சர்வ் பண்றதுக்கு மட்டுமே சொல்றாங்க. As far as India is considered, Niti Aayog report 2018, it says groundwater is a case in point. The Global Commission on Economics of Water report should be a message that it cannot be postponed for long. குளோபல் லெவல்ல தண்ணியை ப்ரொடெக்ட் பண்றதுக்குன்னு ஒரு கமிஷன் அமைக்கிறத நம்ம போஸ்ட்போன் பண்ண முடியாது, இமீடியேட்டா பண்ணணும். ஸோ Prelims Fact, as far as Prelims Fact is considered, you have to know when it was created, 2022, which country, Netherlands, and what is the report name. Okay, and in mains, very well you can use this data very well.